Hello, people. What is going on? Fan reaction time. To my right is Jamie. You know who he is. Jamie Talks, and we're here to talk about Crystal Palace 0, West Ham United 2. Good victory in South London. Jamie, what are you saying?
Yeah, great performance. I mean, it's not like us to go to Crystal Palace and get a win, so it feels good to finally get out of Selhurst Park with some sort of result, because I've seen us get battered there over the years. Yeah, I thought it was a top performance. As cliche as it sounds, it was very much a game of two halves. Of course, first half, I feel like it was, we saw a lot of the teething problems that we had in the game last week, but then I think the manager saw that, made some changes. And I think in the second half, we saw a defensive, solid performance and a devastating counter-attack, which we know West Ham can do anyway. So overall, I'm really happy with the performance, and I think it's a good sign that we can get over the line. I think we blew Crystal Palace away within a 5-minute period, and the game was done. So it was good, mate.
What do you make of the lineup for you?
I mean, it's hard to criticise the lineup now, because we've gone and got a win ultimately, and you can't really criticize that too much, especially when the performance that we put in the second half was enough to get us 3 points. I think obviously after the performance last week and it not being the most perfect performance, which is understandable, I think everyone was expecting some changes this week, and when it didn't happen, it almost made a win must win, if you know what I mean. It was always a must win game, if you know what I mean, but it always meant like if he's lining that team up, then we have to win. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, we have. It wasn't the lineup that I necessarily would have gone with, to be clear. But yeah, I think the game changed ultimately when Aaron Wan-Bissaka did a dart and run going forward. So in my opinion, he has to be starting going forward.
Yeah. What do you make of that first half, Jamie? Because obviously they hit the crossbar. They had numerous chances. Don't get me wrong, we had half chances to a point, but it wasn't great in the first half. What would you say in the first half?
Yeah, it's just, again, I think it's some of the teething problems. I mean, it's the side that is out there. I say it isn't a Lopetegui side. It is his side. He's the one picking the players, of course, but a lot of those players aren't players that he brought into the football club. So he's kind of just like, I think he's just kind of assessing what he has and what's needed. And I think that first half, it wasn't ideal, don't get me wrong. But once again, we find ourselves going in at half-time drawing. It's the second game in a row. The difference is this week, we've made our chances count in the second half. So wasn't necessarily 100% happy with the first half performance, but for all their chances and for all the opportunities that they had to go and score, they didn't. So it's hard to slight the team too much. They were the better side, let's be clear. But we had chances as well. And I think the second half changed the game for sure.
Yeah, let's talk about the second half. Thomas Souček, mate. This man gets a lot of heat. Some people love him, some people hate him, some people want him to start, some people don't even want him at the club. Where do you land on him, mate?
Again, I've always been a fan of Thomas Souček. I think over the years he scored big goals in big moments, and once again today he arrived when he needed to and got us an important goal. A lot of people talk about him not being technically gifted enough, but I don't think any of those people were shouting when Thomas Souček scores a goal for us and we go 1-0 up. Do you know what I mean? They're the ones falling over the hoardings in the crowd. So for me, I've always said I don't know if Thomas Souček is the main option now going forward in the Lopetegui kind of like setup, but he is a option. And and let's be clear, we're 2 games in. He's had 2 goal scoring opportunities that he missed, unfortunately. He won us a penalty last week, and now he scored a goal. So he's showing that he can be impactful in this side. And I don't think he's had the worst performances. I think he's done all right today. So for me, I think he's definitely got a future at the club. I'd love to see him stay around. I think I just think there's not really many players like him, in terms of like the impact that he can bring to a football pitch, and like he causes panic and he always finds himself in the right spot. I don't know how anyone can slight Thomas Souček when we're 2 games in and he's got pretty much two goal involvements, if you think about it, and could have won us the game last week. So it's just one of them things,
Yeah. For me, it's a mixed bag with him all the time, isn't it? You just don't know what you're going to get. You know what I'm saying? But the one thing that I will say is he does score big goals. He done it last season in games where he won us the game in the last minute of certain games, and he's done it today. Like he scored a key goal at a time when we needed a goal. Don't get me wrong; it was the first shot on target West Ham had, and he scored it. So, um, for me, it's just I don't know. I don't know where he's like Marmite. That's the best way of summing him up. You either love him or you hate him, and there's no middle with him. I think he's a good servant to West Ham, and I think he's the
Yeah.
sort of player that you have it around the squad because you know he can make an impact in key moments. So, yeah, really good goal though. Like, and
Yeah.
listen, like the celebrations sort of proved it. Also, what do you make of Jared Bowen today? Because I thought he was very quiet, and then he scored. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's a goal scorer all over, isn't it? Like we've seen it before. Like David Moyes used to call him the best finisher at the club, and he was clinical today. He showed that.
Yeah.
I personally don't mind if our players are quiet for 60, 70 minutes if they then go score a goal when it, and hit them where it hurts. I mean, we're seeing Jared Bowen play a slightly different role to what he has in previous years under David Moyes, but we're, 2 games in, he's got a goal already. And when he had the opportunity today, he made it count. So I think we'll see the performances from Jared Bowen increase, and go up a level throughout the season once everyone gets kind of aware of what Lopetegui requires from his team, and the more gelled the team gets together, I think we'll see Jared Bowen continue to score goals. And I don't mind that he had the quiet game because he scored a big goal when it mattered.
Yeah, I hear you, mate.
I think the real take-home point for me today, if I'm honest, more than anything, is I think you go back for years. Our biggest issue around West Ham has always been, squad depth, and I think today, it was refreshing to see subs come off the bench and not necessarily weaken us, but they made us stronger, and it changed the game. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is the guy who made that positive run, drove forward, and then laid Jared Bowen in, who then led to the goal. So I'm so impressed with the subs performance today, the performance overall, weathering the storm in the first half. It took a lot. We've seen, like I said numerous times, we've seen us get battered at Selhurst like in the last couple of years. Like, do you know what I mean? So after the first half, maybe a year ago, I wouldn't have been surprised if we come out and then got battered, but we didn't. We weathered the storm. The second half, we were defensively solid. Some of the best defensively, I think we're the most defensively solid side that I'd seen in a long time. And I know obviously David Moyes used to like to pride himself on that, but we were the side that shipped 70 odd goals last year. And when we defend like that in that second half today, I don't know, it's just top level. I think Mavropanos, everyone's got questions about him. But it was immense second half. Max Kilman, 40 million is a hell of a lot of money, but with performances like that, it looks like a bargain. Driving out of midfield, laying in Jared Bowen to then go score. It's kind of, I think there's very few things to complain about today.
Worst player for you today?
Worst player. It's difficult. It's probably just someone in that first half. I don't know if I can put like a specific name. Maybe Soufal, because I don't know if he's fully come to grips with what's required of a wing back in that system. And then we saw the difference of Aaron Wan-Bissaka in there, and having that kind of immediate impact, and bargain at 15 million, by the way. So for me, probably Soufal. I think it's a bit harsh because I think we just did what we needed to do in the first half, but probably Soufal if I had to say someone.
Yeah, best player for you, mate.
Probably Max Kilman. I think Max Kilman was our best defender today, and I think in that second half, that the assured kind of like peace of mind and comfort on the ball is kind of, we're seeing exactly why Lopetegui wanted those ball dominant defenders, because we transition from defense straight to attack and we go score a goal, and that's Lopetegui all over. That's Lopetegui ball in a nutshell. So I've been singing his praises all summer. I thought it would be a somewhat easy fit for him to come in, and I think 2 games in, he's had a good performance against Aston Villa, in my opinion, and I think today he's had a man of the match performance. So hopefully he can continue for me.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to be honest. I thought Max had a really good game. He was my man of the match when we've done the player ratings, and for me, he when you look at the value of him, 40 million, and when we signed him, people said 40 million is a lot of money. I think he showed today that he's a 40 million pound defender, because he played like a 40 million pound defender. So yeah. Lopetegui, mate, to round this up, what are you saying today?
Again, go back the last few years. We don't expect substitutions. We expect them about 15, 20 minutes late. You know what I mean? Lopetegui made changes when he needed to, and it changed the game. The game was there for the taking. West Ham did everything they could to win it, and we did. So you can't slate him today. People are obviously going to question the first half performance and his lineup and whatnot, but I think he's still finding his feet. I still think, those new players are being bedded in, gradually, as opposed to just going balls to the wall with it. So for me, I'll give him an 8 out of 10. I'll give him an 8 out of 10, just because I would have liked to see Aaron Wan-Bissaka probably start. But
moving on to sort of like the future, how can I put this? Where do the new players fit now? Because obviously we need to put these new players in there. Wan-Bissaka has to come into the fold, I believe. Nicholas Füllkrug has to be involved now from the front. I don't think Antonio done a lot today. Where do the new players fit, Jamie, for you?
Well, I mean, you said, I think the two names you said there probably have to get into that starting lineup sooner rather than later. But I think, it's interesting because, Mavropanos given a chance today and he's put in a top performance, in my opinion. I thought he was a really good foil to Max Kilman. And I think in that second half, he made lots of big challenges, helped us get that clean sheet. So going forward, I would like to see, people like Mavropanos still putting in top performances to try and keep their level in the centre backs and, establish some sort of competition in positions, because it's been a while since West Ham have really had that, if I'm honest. I think there are players that maybe not have performed to the level that we know they're capable of. I know of Mikel Antonio over the year has got us out of so many holes, but unfortunately over the last couple of weeks hasn't probably got to the level that he's capable of. And I think Nicholas Füllkrug is there waiting. So if anything, bringing a Füllkrug in may even raise the level of an Antonio to help them compete. And I think that's the most important thing. I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka, we saw his impact. I said earlier, his immediate impact coming in has changed the game and helped us win the game ultimately. So I think going forward, we need to see these players integrated into the side. But I don't want to see necessary players that have been putting in good performances necessarily just be disregarded straight away. Because I thought Mavropanos, he's done enough today to suggest starting next game. He has, if we're being clear, but the next game is against Man City in the league. So we have to be clear about our expectations in that game. And maybe he brings in some of the new players for midweek, or some of the players that haven't really got as much of a shout in the cup game. So I think, it's rare that we're going to have the same week. Football nowadays, obviously modern football, there's so much rotation, because there's so many games. I think just having like a squad full of competition and players that are performing at the highest level isn't the worst thing, because then the manager can just pick the best players in each position. And I think that's that. We don't know how these players are training either, by the way, because Mavropanos could be immense in training. Soufal could be amazing in training. We don't know that. So I think going on the performances on the pitch so far, I'd love to see them, just keeping that rotation.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. Jamie, thank you very much for coming on, mate. I really do appreciate it. Go and follow Jamie Talks on all social media outlets, YouTube, TikTok, X, everywhere. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to E20 Zone TV, and hit the notification bell. That's been Jamie's fan cam reaction. I'll be bringing some more fan cam reactions soon. Take care, enjoy your bank holiday weekend, and I'll see you again in the next one. Peace.